Behold the myriad fish that frolic beneath the waves, the crabs that skitter across the sands, the lovely corals of stone and shelf, and all the beautiful creatures of the sea. That natural majesty of the sea, it calls to us, and we will come to stand in wonder. Megaquarium is a management and simulation game where you play as the director of an aquarium. Your goal, as is typical for these kind of games, is to take your small fish gallery and then build it up over time till it becomes a massive megaquarium filled with all manner of creatures from the deep. The game has two modes, campaign and sandbox. In campaign mode, you must play through a series of missions. Each mission takes place on a new map that, when you complete, allows you to move on to the next area with new resources at your disposal, but also increasingly complex objectives. Sandbox mode, on the other hand, allows you to build your ultimate aquarium with as many or as few restrictions as you want. Typical gameplay requires you to perform two duties as aquarium director. First, you'll need to expand your aquarium, buying land, hiring staff, and making sure that you have the supplies and, most importantly, the tanks that will house your new fish. Your next duty is then to fill those tanks full of fish, crustaceans, and corals and make sure that they have all that they need to survive and grow. For you see, every fish that you purchase has slightly different requirements for its living space. Most fish will only require that their tanks be clean, that they be a certain temperature, and that they are provided a specific type of food. Rare fish that are more challenging, but also more valuable, will have additional prerequisites. They might need a tank that's a specific size or a certain shape. They might need additional food or more decorations. Certain species, such as sharks or eels, will even eat other fish, which means that you have to be very careful when picking who their tank mates will be. After you've built your tanks and filled them with fish, you'll also need to make sure that you have staff who can feed, clean, and repair your giant fish bowls, and most importantly, that your patrons have easy access so that they can appreciate your exhibits. Visitors who are happy and who like your aquatic museum generate prestige points over time. These points will allow you to increase your rank, as well as unlock new species and new equipment. A high rank also means that more visitors want to come to your aquarium, and more visitors means more ticket sales. And with that extra money, you can continue to expand your aquarium, build more tanks, and fill them with even more types of exotic fish. Now then, what are the positives of Megaquarium? Well, for starters, the presentation is very nice. All of the models and characters are bright and colorful, and the music is cheery and upbeat. In addition, the game has great variety. There are dozens of different types of fish of all manner of kin and fin. All these different dottybacks and sharks and clams and jellies that you can unlock and purchase. And enough decorations and paints and plants that you really can make your aquarium look however you want it to. On top of, or perhaps also as a part of, is the note that the game has really strong pacing. That core loop of building a new tank and then trying to micromanage the environment inside to make it perfect for a new species of fish. That right there is the core management element of the game, and it means that there's always activity somewhere in your aquarium. Now, unfortunately, the game does have some drawbacks as well. For instance, the AI is not great, but at least manageable. As it turns out, the people that come to your aquarium will often just wander around without any motivation, and this even applies to your staff as well. If they don't have anything to do, they will tend to roam the halls like lost souls. Thankfully, like I said before, the situation is manageable. You can put arrows down to direct your visitors and establish work zones where your staff will stay even when they don't have any immediate tasks. But then there's the user interface, which is also not great and less manageable. At a glance, the game provides you with plenty of pop-ups and tooltips detailing what's going on with your fish and tanks and your staff. But all of this is localized to the individual tanks. There's no way of getting centralized information. There's no one screen that gives you a breakdown of your entire aquarium and all the fish that you have and what all your staff are doing. The closest you can get is by zooming the camera way out, which, when you have a large aquarium, is not exactly an efficient process. And even then, if you want detailed statistics on an individual tank, you typically still have to go to that tank and click on it and the fish inside to get the information you need. But here's the thing. While in any other instance this would be a critical flaw, in this game it's just more of an annoyance. And the reason is that Megaquarium has one of the flattest difficulty curves I have ever seen. I don't mean this as a criticism or a complaint, but it is something notable about the design. You see, part of the way the game works is that when you purchase a new fish, you have at your disposal, up front, every relevant piece of information about that fish. You know exactly what type of food it needs, what type of tank it needs, what type of other fish it can be housed with. And with that information, it is completely possible to build a mechanically perfect tank that satisfies that fish's every need before it ever even goes in the water. And this is, frankly, an incredible convenience. You know before you even buy them exactly what every fish in your aquarium needs to survive. Which means that a lack of information is not even that much of a problem, since if you are playing efficiently, you've already made sure that the tank has everything that it requires. Megaquarium is a game with very little uncertainty. Even at the highest difficulty levels, the only thing that really changes is the cost of new equipment and new fish. Which means that for a veteran player like me, the game is surprisingly easy, although I have to admit it probably makes it very accessible as well. In the end, this puts Megaquarium in an odd position. Its simulation aspects are limited, the AI isn't very complex, and the user interface leaves something to be desired. And yet, its managerial aspects are potentially perfect. As I mentioned before, that core cycle of building new tanks and then filling them with colorful varieties of fish is very strong. And the notable advantage of having all of that information up front means that you're free to design as simple or complex a marine habitat as you desire. In conclusion, I would give Megaquarium 3 out of 4 stars, and my polite recommendation. If you want a management and simulation game that cuts out almost all random variables and allows you to focus on the relaxing effort of building your perfect aquarium, then this is definitely one to check out. Alright then, thanks for listening, I'll see you next time. As for me, well, until then, I'm off to swim with the fishes in the deep blue sea.